and talking them through, what does tolerance look like? Tolerance looks like me still respecting you, but not agreeing with what you're doing. And being willing to talk through that in a respectful manner. Key foundation number 4, key principle number 4 is love does not equal affirmation. So this goes right off of that last point there. You can love someone without affirming what they're doing or what they believe. And we look at this and we're like, can you really? Can I really love someone? And think about it then. Our highest example, God loves us. When I am sinning, God still loves me. But he doesn't affirm my action at that moment in time. So when I'm looking at another person who's created in the image of God, I still love them, but I don't affirm what they're doing. I don't affirm how they're living. Love does not equal affirmation. If you love someone, you truly want the best for them. I think of like really cheesy, like my mom says she loves me, and I know that she wants the best for me. And sometimes when I was little, that meant like not misbehaving, which got into discipline and all those unfun things. But even now, like she wants the best for me. I know that she loves me because of that. If I love someone, I want the best for them. And ultimately what's best for them is to have a relationship with Christ. And to have a relationship where they are not acting in sin. And he talks about another metaphor in this section. It's the idea of a doctor knowing you have a serious illness. So the doctor walks in the room, he knows you have a serious illness, but he doesn't want to hurt your feelings. He cares about you, so he's like, I'm just not going to tell them. Versus the doctor that comes in, knows what's best for you, wants to see you get treatment, and so they talk about that serious illness. But he talks about it not like, oh, this is your fault, this is your problem, but he talks about it as, how can we go about fixing this? What would be the best treatment? And in the same way we talk to people about sin. We don't want to not talk about it, because it is wrong, there is something wrong, there's something broken, but we need to talk about it respectfully and look at what can be done to restore that person. And the fifth key principle, the ultimate problem is not about choosing a different gender identity. And this is our last key principle, because often when we look at this, we look at it as it's separated sin. And it's a sin, but the ultimate problem is not that what that person is choosing as a different gender identity. When it gets down to the core issue of that person, their greatest need is for salvation. And helping kids understand, helping children that come into programs understand that their greatest need is for salvation. Instead of simply trying to address the symptoms of a person's fallenness, we need to address the root cause of that fallenness. And that goes for this sin, that goes for sexual relations outside of marriage, that goes for using drugs, using alcohol, that goes for lying. These are all sins, and we need to address the symptoms or the root cause of that person's fallenness. Our message as Christians is not that people need to just sin less in specific areas. So as he wraps up this book, he goes back through and says, in this foundation, it can be easy for us to say, like, that sin is wrong. That sin is really wrong. But our message isn't to just get them to a point where they're identifying as their biological sex. Our message is to get them to a point where they understand their brokenness and their need for Christ and finding their identity in him. Because ultimately, it is an identity issue. It's finding out their identity in Christ. So as we talk to this older age group, discussing their cultural beliefs and how they differ from Christian beliefs. So what does the culture say? What does our Christian beliefs say? What does the Bible say? And then one of the biggest key issues that I've found more and more is discussing identity and how we need to find our identity in Christ. And looking at what does it look like to live as a Christian? What does my identity look like when I am following Christ and finding that identity in him? And that's all of the foundation. So I encourage you, if you haven't gotten this book, he goes through a lot more depth. He's done a lot more research than I have. They both have. So it is a phenomenal book. It's a really short, really easy read. I keep it on my shelf for reference several times to look through. But I'm excited that we're presenting this session just because this is something that is going to come up. I don't know how many of you have had relatives, family, friends that this issue has come up in, but I anticipate truly that it'll start coming up and popping up in Bible adventures, and we have to start having these harder conversations. So we're going to take some time. There are some breakout questions at the bottom for you to think through with people near you. A student indicates that he or she has two mothers at home while in a group setting, and other students at the Bible adventure are earshot and are clearly interested in the conversation. And then the second scenario, a student shares in the group setting, maybe as you're sitting around in your groups as listeners, that he or she is gay and identifies as liking the same gender. So how would you respond to these? What does this look like to talk students through these? Giving you some opportunities to think through that. So I'll give you some time to talk with some of the people next to you. If you don't know the people next to you, now's a great time to turn, shake their hand, make friends. We'll give you guys probably 5-ish minutes